Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session. We will talk about field parameters or personalized visuals as tools to our journey in self-service in Power BI.
So my name is Maria. This is Bruno. We are from Porto, Portugal. We work in DevScope. We are BI specialists, and we work mainly with Power BI, but we work in all the ecosystem and Microsoft data tools.
Don't forget to scan our QR code for feedback. It's very important. You can win a prize, but mostly SQL Bits is giving money for charity, so please scan and give feedback.
Like I said, Bruno and I work together, and we like to discuss some approach for different scenarios in our daily basis implementations. The idea is talk a little bit about these approaches to self-service. Field parameters, we are calling a Zeppelin, a trip in a Zeppelin in the data landscape. And the personal visuals will be air balloon flight. And we will explain why we choose these aircrafts for each of these approaches. So the idea is to show what are these, and then discuss a little bit why or
and
when we choose one of them for specific scenarios.
Yes, the reason for this session, as Maria was saying, was our constant discussions about approaches. We are not always in agreement, so sometimes we want to go left and the other we want to go right. So field parameters today here in this town is like a Zeppelin. So field parameters is flexible, but relies on the pilot as to planning the trip. So we will know where we can go, and we will be sure that where we will land, nothing will happen. Everything will go as we expected. So for us, it's a Zeppelin. We went on board, the pilot prepared everything, the passenger in the air can show, I don't want to go to B, I want to go to C, and then I go to E. But the pilot has the planning to go there. So it knows how to get there and knows how to land where it goes there. So in this case, field parameters is a feature in Power BI. It's still in preview, so you need to activate that to use it. And after that, the user will have the ability to choose which data he wants to see and why. So please, Maria, show how we can do that.
Yes, I will show a report already built in Power BI service, and the idea is explore a little bit of the field parameters that we built.
So please be my passenger, Maria. I built this thing for you. I planned this, it's here.
You are the pilot that built this report, and
yes,
I be the passenger, the end user that will explore and use these field parameters. So in this case, we have several parameters built in this report. One of them is for measures. So you have here a slicer that you can choose between different measures that can be analyzed in the report, and you can see all the visuals are being adapted to this measure. So if I choose between them, you can see all these are changing. Then we have a different field parameter that will be the dimensions that I want to analyze in our report. So you have here several dimensions that are groups. So you can select a group of the dimensions, and we can, for example, drill down and explore different points of view in our report. But you can actually select only one of these dimensions. You can see in here, you have as well the fields, the values inside that category. So you can actually select them as well. And for example, use in a different type of visual these fields instead of the all category.
So we are using field parameters that were pre-built in the report. And as you could see, Maria was filtering the origin of the airport to show you the delays of that airports. the delays of the flights, and then Maria changed to show you the destination, and you could select the delays reason in the end, in the button, because Maria selected delay reason. If Maria had the airlines, I would have all the values for the airlines. So I'm giving my passenger to choose where and how to explore the data, so he can choose the trip, but if the passenger wants a different KPI to select, it's not there, okay? Is what was there already available to be chosen.
The idea is not to explore how to do it, but only to show a little of this. This is the field parameter, is the table that are built in Power BI desktop when you choose to build a field parameter. This is the standard one, so you have 3 columns, one of the name, the value that you are showing, and the order. But when you see the analyzed by field parameter, you see that you have a group, right, and a certain order for that group. So what we did, we edit this table that were built by default and add here some other columns that help us to have this structure. You can see as well a trick that we use many times, that instead of have this incremental order by default in the field parameter, we have here the order by 10.
Incremented by 100, and in the middle we have each value incremented by 10. In the future, if you need to put more values in here, you don't need to change the order that is already done for the fields that we have for field parameters.
You can put here some in the middle.
So it's not something that came from default, but you should customize at the beginning so you are prepared for future. That is what we want to pass the message. Field parameters, prepare in advance, everything will be okay in the trip that we will take.
Just another advanced scenario that we can use field parameters connected to tables in the model. So in this case, for example, we have here a table that are connected with two field parameters, and we can, for example, have these options and can choose between these two.
Origin and destination for the airport, and see the different KPIs for that origin or destination for each airport. So you saw default field parameters application, a middle intermediate implementation customization of a field parameter, and an advanced scenario with physical relationships between one dimension and two field parameters. It's not the scope, and we don't have the time to go deeper, but feel free to reach out of the session. We can share the PBIX, we can share everything that is done, and we can talk about it and other approaches as well.
So move on for
yes.
personal visuals.
To have time to show everything. So personalized visuals is a different trip that we can make. In this case, we will not be so responsible for the trip itself, because we will rely on the wind, and the wind has different desires each day. But as a balloonist, we should prepare the quality and the safety of the trip for the travelers, okay? So we should understand and ensure the area where we will go into flight. So the insights that we'll get from the data will make sense. Because if we give everything to the user, it may land in a place that does not make sense or in the water, and that will be a problem. So personal visuals gives more responsibility for the traveler that will want to go here and there and will rely on the wind, and gives also more responsibility to the balloonist to prepare in advance everything to ensure a good end of the journey. A good thing that we will have using personalized visuals is if one traveler, a user, will land in some place that does not make sense to the data, he can reset, start over the trip. And another thing that is very useful for the user is he may find something that is very beautiful to find, very value insights with the data, and he can save it. So it can save it to look it afterwards, and share with others. Very important to share with others that insight that he found. In this case, you can in a report, and we should think a report as a trip, we can activate the personalized visuals for that trip, so the user will have that autonomy. Or we can not activate for all the report, but manage page by page. And each page can give that to the user or not. And also, we can control it by visual. So we can have a visual. Can you zoom the visual? You struggle in the PowerPoint, right? You can activate visual by visual, having in the icon in the head of the visual the option available or not. One thing that we want to share is every visual in the page, if it's open to use personalized visual, will be offering the same data to personalize each visual, okay? So you cannot say, and we will see, as a balloonist, I can control what the user will have. That is what I mean to control the area where we will fly.
Yes, but we can explain a
you
little.
will show in detail for sure. But for each visual, it will respect the page.
Yes, I will show a report that there are some visuals that allow this personalized option. So, for example, you can see in here that this visual, for example, don't have the option to personalize, but in here you have this option, okay? Let me zoom it. This is the in here, okay? So if I select here, I have several options to personalize. For example, I can choose a different type of visual. I will select a donut chart. It's not my favorite, but just for example. But in here, for example, I can change the legend as well. This is the legend by default. And I can, for example, select here something that makes sense. And have here a different type of analysis. And even though I can choose a different KPI, I have to select in here and have, I think I select the same one, but I think you understand that you can change the values. So after I do this, you can see in here that I have a reset bottom option that I can select to reset this visual to default, meaning that you can return to the visual that the developer published. But like Bruno said, maybe the user always wants to see this report with this visual when come to the report. So I can go in here and I can create a personal bookmark. This will allow me to, when I want to go to this report later, I will see the report as I personalize.
Right?
Yes, for example. So if I go in here as well, I can reset all the visuals, or if I will put here my bookmark, I can see the changes that I made, and I can reset only this this visual. So one important thing as well, I cannot share a personal bookmark, but I can share this report with my changes. So I can, for example, publish this in a Teams or maybe by email and send this for different users that when open my message will see this report with this visual. So one important thing that Bruno already talked a little bit is about the area or the data that the users has available for their exploration. So you can see in here, when activate a personal visual for the page, we can select the model, meaning that we have all the data available for changing in your personal visual, or you can have a different perspective. This perspective is something that the developer can set up in Power BI and Tabular Editor, and can, for example, make some of the data available or hidden. Okay, so the perspective is to show or not show these data, these columns or dimension measures in your exploration. So in this case,
Maria, let me interrupt you a little bit. Is it possible to have one field belonging to different perspectives?
Yes, you can have different perspectives, and the same dimension can be part of one dimension, one perspective or different perspectives.
Okay.
But it's important to mention that one page has one perspective or all the model. You don't have in one page one visual with one perspective and other visual with another perspective. All the perspective will affect all the page.
Okay. So now that we understand the two journeys that we can take and the two different warecrafts that we can choose, field parameters or personalized visuals, why are we having this session and what me and Maria talk about and have discussions about this that make us to propose to be here with you guys today. When we have a use case, when we have different approaches to decide, we should take in consideration several topics. And those topics, we will bring some with you so we can show how we thought and for which case we decide for one or the other.
So, for example, you have to take in consideration the user skills and requirements. What does this mean? In one hand, we have, for example, a high technical proficient user that knows how to work in Power BI, but the scenario is not very defined, meaning that the user is a proficient user, but don't know what scenarios that he wants to explore in the future. In the other hand, you can have a low technical proficient user that don't want to explore many things in the Power BI.
He doesn't know how, right?
How to know, yes. But as defined and clear scenarios, he knows what he want.
Yes, and sometimes he already wrote what he wants to see in a paper, right?
Yes.
I want this graph, I want this filter, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. This is what I want. It's very clear, very focused.
So for these scenarios, we believe that the first one is for the personal visuals and the second one is for field parameters.
So a guided trip and another one with a freedom to choose to go where he wants to go. Another topic that is very important to take in consideration is the data complexity and the structure of our semantic model. If we are working with a complex semantic model and the data that is not so easy to understand, that is one scenario. We are not saying that the model is not well built. We are assuring every time that someone, as a pilot, a balloonist, whatever, build a good data model that it can be understandable, but sometimes it's not very easy to understand what is there and how data relate to each other. Sometimes it's very simple. The context of the data is simple, the way things are done is simple, and what connects and relates and filters is very easy to understand. These are the two scenarios that we bring. And for those scenarios, Maria is clicking, so it appears already the Zeppelin and appears already the air balloon. So again, field parameters to guide our complex trip so we can know where to land, and the other one, if everything is very easy to understand, the user will be autonomous to find what he needs to find and build. The third topic that we have here is about the flexibility and interactivity of the data. So this is related to what the user wants and if the user knows what he wants to find or not, and more focus in the goal of the user. And in this case, I believe for now, if you are looking to the PowerPoint that we are sharing, you for now have answers to say. Maria, we have time, Maria.
1 minute, 1 minute.
And the last one?
So the last one is more important for the pilot instead of the passenger like the last ones. So in this case, I will put here the right answer right away.
Right away.
But in this case, like Bruno already said, we need a robust semantic model, and the pilot is responsible to have this available for the user. The idea is to empower the user to have the complete knowledge of the model, and for that you can have tools, for example, wiki report, like we have in DevScope many times, for the users know the relationships between the the objects and the meaning of the measures and what relate to what. On the other hand, you can have a more analytical approach because the developer has to know very well the analytics that the users want to explore in that model, and take in consideration that different analyses may require developments in the future because the user will explore the report and make more requirements in the future, and the developer has to take action in that cases. So that's it, but just to, to know that there are some limitations in some of the approaches. In this case, I will highlight some of them. Fill parameters don't support AI visuals, only works with DAX measures, explicit DAX measures, so make sure that you build your measures in the model, and the measures will keep format string. By other hand, Personal Visuals has a limitation to export to PowerPoint and PDF, and the bookmarks has a limitation to only 20 bookmarks, personal bookmarks. I think this is the most important ones. So if there are any questions, take outside and we can discuss with you. Please scan, give us feedback. We have here the link for DevScope YouTube channel as well. We have several videos if you want to explore. So thank you so much.